Fantastic. So we are right on time. I can't wait to introduce now Steve Zuker of Pucara Gold.
Okay. Pucara Gold. We are a TSX listed company, and grassroots exploration is our forte. Are you able to see my screen now?
It looks great. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. I'll be making some forward-looking statements, so if anyone wants to see more detail, please go to our website. We are in Peru. Gold exploration is what we do. We have drill-ready targets. We're in the process of permitting one of those now, and one of them is permitted, and we're looking for big elephants here in Peru, where things are quite permissive to host big gold deposits. We've got a team behind us that have been in Peru as well, and in Canada supporting big exploration projects, have been around the business. And we have a portfolio of 9 projects. I mentioned 2 that in the process of permitting, but we've also got a few other projects in our portfolio. We're a grassroots player. Myself, I'm the founder. I'm a geologist. Most of my career has been spent in Peru. So I've learned all the aspects there, from legal and accounting and geology and culture, because we have several cultures that we're always working with. Andy Swarthout, he's involved with Bear Creek, and Ken Ballaweg, formerly of Alamos. So there's 4 of us on this team, along with Patrick, that we all speak Spanish, which is very important in Peru. So this gives you an idea. Dave Oram with Sandstorm Gold is on the board. So we have a lot of support in industry. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our 2 projects, Pucara and Lourdes. These are what we call high sulfidation epithermal gold targets. These host some of the big deposits in Peru, such as Yanacocha Pierina. And this is the list of the other projects as well. We are focused in an area called Ayacucho. And that's just an area here that we think is an immature exploration part of Peru. When Peru opened up in the 90s, a lot of exploration went on in the north and in the south, where deposits were discovered. A little bit about our share structure, 62.5 million shares outstanding. And the big thing is here, we got almost $5 million in the bank, 4.9. Insider and associates, 35%. Closely held institutional, such as Resource Capital, Alamos, and Sandstorm. So this is the part of Peru where we're focused. Slide shows some of the big mines here in the south, copper mines, and the permissive rocks that run the length of Peru that host copper and gold deposits. And here we are, our projects are focused here in the central part of Peru. And this is just a part of Peru where the Shining Path had been, and and didn't really open up till the 2000s. So it's just an area that didn't receive as much exploration. This is focusing in on Ayacucho, where we're at, and some of the players that are also there. Our projects are in red: Kayla, Lourdes, Pucara, and a few others in here. But you can see some of the other players that are also there: Rio Tinto, Newmont, BHP, that are adjacent and around us. And these are the international players that are coming to us to talk to us to look for new properties, because we're one of the few exploration juniors in the Americas that's looking for new projects. And again, we've got 9 of those that we're working on. Pucara, that's the project we're right now focusing on. This is an outcrop of 5 grams gold. This is something here we call vuggy silica, and it's outcropping. We have a very large land position here, 7,600 hectares. This vuggy silica is what hosts gold in the deposits such as Yanacocha and Pierina that I've mentioned before, as well as other high sulfidation epithermal projects or mines throughout the Americas. We've completed a lot of groundwork here, mapping, rock geochemistry, soil geochemistry, and ground geophysics. We're in the process of permitting it right now for drilling, and we expect to have those permits here mid-year and be drilling toward the end of the year. As you can see, we've sampled up to 17 grams on the surface, but there's quite a bit of cover in here, and this just gives you an idea. That would be about 200 meters, and there's an outcrop up there at the top of the slide. There's quite a bit of cover there, so this is part of the activity, why we need geophysics, why we need soil. So we've been doing quite a bit of groundwork here. This is a satellite image mapping minerals related to these types of deposits. These types of deposits are the high sulfidation epithermal gold deposits. And so we see some colors here of these oranges and red, which are associated with gold deposits, those kinds of minerals. But what's kind of been curious is we start to see some of these higher temperature minerals that are related to porphyry copper at the surface that we did not expect. High sulfidation epithermal gold deposits are in the transition to a porphyry copper deposit at depth, and we're seeing that in other parts of the world as well, so that's how we know that these things are real. This is a map of the alteration footprint, which is really important. Pucara, and these are 1 kilometer squares in here. Pucara is quite large, and it compares to Pierina in size of that alteration footprint that I talk about, 7 million ounces at Pierina. Yanacocha, we talk about plus 10, plus 20 million ounces. So these are the kinds of things that we're looking for. And on the surface, we're seeing lots of characteristics that are similar. Mulatos is just another example, 4 million ounces there. And that's where Ken Bellowig, our VPX, spent quite a bit of time in the earliest days. So he recognizes what it looks like on the surface before there's an open pit, before you start drilling. And our Lourdes property too, as well. These were permissive to very large deposits. This is the alteration map draped on top of our satellite image, just to give you a quick idea here and what it looks like on the ground. We have rolling hills and the pictures of that you saw earlier where we had the gold in outcrops. This is a heat map of the soil survey. And in this particular case, we have arsenic. And this is arsenic mapped, and these samples are on a 100-meter grid. So they're quite widely spaced, and things are still continuous to the south. That's our land position there, our boundary. We see very high values of arsenic in the top right. This is gold, and we see gold in the central part of the system where we're really pretty interested. And again, these are open anomalies here, still continuing to the south. And then we're seeing copper. And this is a concept of zonation, and where we see copper here, and we saw arsenic up here into the top right. And these are kind of classic zonation sciences that we understand in mineral exploration. And so some of these characteristics are starting to point to a porphyry system as well. So we're certainly chasing the gold, but we're seeing the characteristics adjacent to it that may be pointing to something else. This ellipsoid here is the area where we're focusing on right now with our permitting. Just to show, those are the rock samples, and as you can see, part of this is there's no samples in between. Just this shows the amount of cover that's present in the area. This is a magnetics map, ground magnetics, and certainly magnetics is used in gold exploration to look for areas of low magnetic activity, because in high sulfidation systems, there's very little magnetite, lots of silica. So that's what's good in here. But we did this for a regional picture, and it's starting to show some other characteristics where we have some high mag in this area. So starting to say something about this could be part of the heat engine, the intrusive activity, the porphyry copper at depth, question mark. That may be present here. This is another geophysical technique called IP resistivity, and where red is highly resistive and yellow is moderate resistive rock. We're seeing the high resistivity is reflective of the rocks, and what's highly resistive is quartz, and what's hosting the gold, silica in this situation. So we like to see that. And as you know, we see these things at depth, and we're going to be, that's part of our targeting aspect. And then another IP technique called chargeability, which measures sulfide in the rock. And so we see moderate to high sulfide content adjacent to this, but also we're also seeing this characteristic, which may be related to another system here on the south. We see this arcuate, and that fits with the mag. So a bunch of this information is coming together. So some of the catalysts that are coming up, surface work at Pucara will be working this summer. We'll be releasing some surface results. We'll also have one of our other projects, Kayla, will be working on. So that's what's going on. And what's important is we got enough money to carry this through. Just a little bit about our option projects. We have 3 partners, 3 projects, Los Tambos, Paco Orco, and Capricho. IM Gold is drilling at Los Tambos, another high sulfidation epithermal gold deposit, gold project just to the southwest of where we're at. Capricho, porphyry copper target. This is where Lowell Copper and Equinox Gold / Solaris came and visited the property. Dave Lowell liked it and said, we want to drill this thing. These guys can earn 75% of that. Paco Orco, similar kind of deal. What's important here is the payments that are going to be coming up. Most of the money is going into the ground. If these 3 projects go to fruition, which we have an interest in, they'll spend $43 million. We'll still retain either 25% of 2 of these projects or 30% of another. In a nutshell, that's it. Thank you, Kai.
Great, Steve. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much for running us through it. And we do have time for one question. And it's from Martin from Germany. And he's asking, of course, since you mentioned it, about the arsenic content and how that might be an impediment to gold production.
At this point, it's a bit early to say. We're seeing it in the soils to the northwest or to the northeast. And as it zones into the copper and gold, that's the kind of aspects that you expect to see in any kind of mineralized system, and it's certainly decreasing into the area where we're looking. So it's something we just have to watch as we go forward. We need the gold first. We'll worry about those other deleterious elements later.
Okay, great. We have 20 seconds for another question, and that's more towards the tool program. So when do you expect to, what's the seasonality like in Peru? Can you start in the second half of the year? Is that no problem?
Yeah, the rainy season is just ending now. And so it's going to go, I don't know if it's another week or another 2 or 3 weeks, but our guys are getting ready to go up there and start doing field work in preparation. In fact, there's a team that's up there now working on our permitting, doing some of the flora and fauna studies that are necessary, and noise and soil surveys and water. So we're up there today. In the rain, but doing rocks and holes is a little bit more difficult.
Great. We're moving north now. We're moving to Idaho now with Integra Resources. Steve, thanks so much for joining us. Please stay in the chat and answer any